Hi Cancers, and welcome to your February 2022 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about your incredible month ahead of February, and Happy New Year. I hope that you are all having a nice entry to 2022, and I hope you're looking forward to a lot more streamlined events coming into your experience. We are about to go into All Planets Direct in February, meaning that we will have no retrogrades, and meaning that you as a Cancer will likely have a lot of paradigm shift, okay? Because, it's been kind of odd for Cancers over the last 2 years, like having Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, like we had over late 2020 and most of 2021. That is just completely like out of alignment in a way for a Cancer person, and now finally we're having things move into a stronger like sense of alignment and meaningfulness. So I'm feeling, just to get into the intuitive messages for you all, that meaningfulness and lack or less of the high stakes, high octane experiences are needed now, because you're about, I would say by like March or April, going to be invited into a very high octane new chain of events, or perhaps this is a new career calling or a new purpose underway. And it's going to start feeling really uncomfortable to keep pushing yourself like into the old things which once made sense, which once paid the bills, which once worked, but are now not so much in harmony with where you really want to see yourself. So we have a kind of uncomfortable point coming up here right in February. This could even be at like the end of January, where it's like, oh my God, is it ever going to end? Am I ever going to move on from this? Am I ever going to transcend this? Transcendence is a key word for everyone in the month of February, because this All Planets Direct phase is one of the longest ones I've ever seen, because we had retrogrades for pretty much all of 2021. We in turn have a longer period of All Planets Direct as well, almost 3 months long. So it means to me that there is a high degree of transcendence coming in during this time, and I would just recommend that you guys enter the month of February kind of like with a list, like of what you haven't liked. This should be quite easy for you to make. Like what you haven't liked, what you haven't enjoyed, what you're not willing to accept anymore, what you're not also willing to let go of or willing not to have, okay? Just to get your mind in the appropriate place where it understands what it really wants, We've had this nodal shift happen where we're now in North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. And for your sign, this makes a lot more sense than the previous nodal axis of 2021 did. And now there's just kind of like a real bridge for you to cross. And it's not so conceptual, it's not so hypothetical, abstract, or hyperbolic. It's more of just a laid out path that is quite simple, though it has a lot of context to it, or a lot of significance if you choose to cross. So you have 4 major arcana cards coming up in your reading: the Lovers, the Moon, the Strength card, and the Chariot. So this is movement, right? The strength to move, the strength to board that vehicle and get into that new territory. It's not an easy thing always, I understand. And sometimes when we look back to a year like 2021 and we're like, oh my God, like had I completely lost my mind? Had I completely, forgotten like why I'm here, like what I'm actually here to do? Holy, like there's kind of like this feeling to me in the Cancer energy line, which is just kind of in astonishment, or kind of like can't believe that it's done what it's done, or like can't really come to grips with like the momentum that it feels when it's enjoying itself compared to the momentum that it's actually on. So we have this crisis point here, not just for your sign, but for all the signs. But I feel that your sign, because it can't really tap into the Saturn in Aquarius, and it perhaps could not also with the Jupiter Aquarius over the entire last year. Now Jupiter's in Pisces, and now we have this nodal shift, so you're connecting to more things now. And what this creates is kind of like this confusion a little bit with the moon coming up, with 7 of Cups as well, which has been prevalent for many of the signs this month. It's like, I just can't really put my finger on how this all comes together. I can't really figure it out. So it's kind of confusing, and certainly those of us who need to know what's going to happen before it does do struggle during this time, because we have a We might not have any clue what's in store for us between now and April. Okay, we have all planets direct. We have a need to move on, to let go and let God, to just let some of these things come in, and to also, consciously be pursuing what we know our calling is, rather than things which we don't connect to anymore. So for a lot of us, we find ourselves in a hybrid place where it's like, okay, I'm still working that old job, but I'm like connecting to this new career. And we shouldn't get too nostalgic about the old job or about the old position at this point in time. We shouldn't be too nostalgic about that old relationship or about that previous story, because it's previous or old feeling or outworn feeling, even if it's still in your life, for a reason. For a reason. So that's an interesting series of words, for a reason. I might title your reading that. So, depending on one's life philosophy, sometimes there are people who think that everything happens for a reason. Sometimes there are people that think that there's just randomness and really no reason to anything. To me, for you, Cancer, it feels like everything that you're involved in or connecting to at this time has reason. So that should at least be a nice sort of breath of fresh air as you might have felt kind of reasonless or hapless or forlorn over the last few years. And here, starting in February 2022, we have something in your life, and I really think everything, but there's at least something there that you're either working towards or working for or dreaming about that has a really big reason and significance for you. Because what is life really other than a quest for significance? That's really also what I feel your energy to be like in February is, a quest for significance. Especially if you're an early Cancer, so you're like between 1 and 10 degrees of a sun or whatever you have in Cancer, and Jupiter is trining that. There's going to be a lot of things coming in that have really important reason. So it's important to not just have the head down, or to not just be like in bed all the time, and to not be unavailable. Like, it's very difficult for people throughout the year of 2022 if they're just kind of like in a psychic coping mode. I've already seen this in my own experience. Where like, I'll be like, okay, I'm just going to take a break. I'm just going to have some free time. And then that 30 minutes turns into like 3 hours, and it's like, I really don't want to do anything. And then it's like, wow, I have lost a major sequence of my time, when what I thought, like perhaps as like a psychic coping mechanism, I thought, wow, I'm resting, I'm giving myself time to decompress, and those are needed things to do. However, 2022 is a special year where, it's Year of the Tiger, and it starts on February 1st, so probably by the time you're listening to this, it's already Year of the Tiger, and that means that we have some energy to spend, not some energy really to like rebuild or rediscover by like resting and laying around and playing video games and, being basically idling. Idling is very negative in the 2022 year cycle, everyone. And I want to make this really clear for you, because Cancer is a sign that needs to idle. Again, the energy of Tiger is not particularly harmonious with Cancer, but, it just is the way of astrology, right? We have times of harmony and times of disharmony, and they come together to get the right result. One can't exist without the other. So if you're having a hard time, know that it is to build contrast for you to get a few things right in your life, and to then experience a much better time in the future. But what I feel is difficult for Cancer people right now is it's like, I just want to rest. Like, so I'm going to paint a hypothetical for you all. So let's say we have this random person who, within the last 2 years, suddenly discovered something that they felt was their life calling or their life purpose. And in correlation with this life purpose, they were accepted for some type of incredible internship. And the universe opened up a door for them and said, go in here. Wow, it's totally connected. It's totally complementary. It's totally a fast track to where you want to be. And this person accepts this internship, or this person accepts this open door from the universe, and they go in. And right when they get into that, and they're called for, let's say, an 8-month internship, and this 8 months is like a testing period by the universe to see how they do it and how they connect to it. All of a sudden, they want to idle, and they want to spend time laying down, or they want to spend time napping. Whereas perhaps back before they got the internship, they were like, oh my God, what do I do with my life? And they're like maybe working like a minimum wage job, and they're like thinking really creatively, so that they ended up manifesting that opportunity. But once they actually had the door open to them, all they wanted to do was rest. This can kind of be like a Cancerian quandary in the 2022 year cycle. Like, I understand 2021 was likely very draining for you, and 2022 won't tolerate it. Okay, you would already be seeing, like, by February, like missed deadlines or some type of dissatisfactory correspondence, like if you're spending too much time in rejuvenation. Okay, we've had a lot of years, like 2015 until like 2020, late 2020. We had 5 years to spend all the time in rejuvenation that we needed, all the time in the spa, all the time in self-employment, all the time in self-directed time management. And now we are not in that paradigm anymore. So we have deadlines, it feels. It feels that we have things that we have to get right now. And it's weird because, nothing stays stagnant in living energy. Energy that's alive, bodies that are alive, okay, they can't do the same thing forever. They've got to sleep for a while, then they've got to wake up and do stuff, and they've got to, ebb and flow back and forth. Like, they don't stay awake forever, they don't stay asleep forever, they ebb and flow. So if we think of the last 5 years, or I'm sorry, like the 2015 to 2020 as like a more unactivated resting phase, if we're thinking long-term momentums, now that's over and we have to be very active and ready. And likely not in a resting phase. And you're going to be really interested, Cancer, if you can like step up to this and like step into your energy about how much more rested and rejuvenated you feel by like June or July than if you just laid in bed all day. But what has to happen here is that we have to just be there and we have to do it, and we have to get over, especially like the mental, psychological battle where it's like, I really don't want to do this, but it's not that you don't want to do it, it's that you don't want to like step into the phase of it. Like, it's actually the door that you don't want to open. It's not that you don't want to be in the room, it's that you don't want to open the door type of thing. It's like being in the room is fine, but it's like these mental games we play with ourselves around the concept of procrastination and getting stuff done. Oftentimes people aren't so afraid of the task at hand or aren't so afraid of the assignment. What they're afraid of is losing their time. So they're like, I want to prolong this period of rest, or I want to prolong this period of self-control over my time. That's more so what it's about than like, I don't want to do what I have to do. However, if it really starts to move into, I don't want to do what I have to do, we have a little bit of a problem, because that's a sign that we're not in the right place. If it's really that, and it's not like I just want control over my time. Okay, so it's good to sit with that and understand where you stand, especially if you're struggling as a Cancer right now to show up or to meet deadlines or to do what you need to do to move forward in your life. But I will say, once you guys get into Pisces season, and especially into like March, okay, of 2022, there are already rewards if you can step up and be present and be ready to step into action. You're a cardinal sign at the end of the day, so it's going to feel really good. So anyway, let's talk about your week to week. Okay, we have in the first week the Lovers, rooted down by the 10 of Cups. So marriage perhaps coming up for some of you, some type of long-term commitment here. And it's almost like some of you forgot at the end of January, like what you're really committed for and what you're really in for. So definitely loyalty is coming up. Crossroads for sure are there, and it's like a gated crossroads with 10 of Cups in the Lovers card. I think that's really cool. It's like a gated crossroads. It's like knowing the password to this crossroads. It's kind of like high stakes stuff in that way as well. And it's not easy, I think, to actually see what is open for you, because it's big stuff. Big stuff is opening up for Cancer people. Like I'm talking like high-ranking positions, like easy passage throughout the world. Like, I'm seeing you have a lot of status coming in, perhaps. But it is contingent on this willingness to step into the real path that you have elected to be on, and not maybe just settle for something that you got by with or survived with, okay? Week number 2, Cancers, you've got the Moon, rooted down by strength. Okay, so the strength to see the truth, the strength to get past the BS, you know. Seven of Cups and the Moon have been causing us a lot of problems. Not the cards themselves. Cards themselves don't cause problems. But this archetype of the human condition of being very out of it or very uncommittal to any one thing because we're too focused on too many things with the Seven of Cups. And then also the Moon, like having rose-colored glasses, you know, seeing things as something they're not. We have a big battle with illusion with Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, right? And as a water sign yourself, Cancer, you might be able to really be someone that transcends that or overcomes that because you can maybe see the way that things really are or see the truth behind certain long-running issues. But as it relates to the second week of February, you've got to get stronger. I really think that some physical body training could be in order, or some type of change in the mental way in which you solve problems. So I've already felt this in my own life as well. Like I realized, you know, the passive peacekeeping energy is not such a wonderful thing in certain contexts. You know, it allows a lot of people to just walk all over you sometimes. Sometimes it even damages your health. You know, imagine having some type of malpractice done to you, but in order to keep peace with like the doctor who's like also your friend, you don't say anything about it and you just accept that like you have some sort of terrible health problem now as like the result from a professional or something because you want to like keep the peace. Sometimes we have to really at the very least find someone who can fix it or find someone who can get some of these things better. So we have to be able to be like Tiger, right? Like hunting it out, hunting down the right circumstances. Okay, and then it can get a little bit like heated, you know. Sometimes there can be like fights or tantrums that some people have during Year of the Tiger, and they need to balance it. But I feel that your sign, Cancer, like for example, I wouldn't tell an Aries or a Leo this, but a Cancer, I would say like you need to not be afraid to at least address problems or to speak things out or to get people on the right page. Certainly do not rely on like telepathy or psychic energy to like try to communicate with people. Like you need to be very direct during this time. Okay, and third week you have the Seven of Cups rooted down by the Chariot. Yes, you need to move out of this over-complex, too many problems, too many things on your plate, too many areas of auspiciousness, okay, leading to an overall lack in health or lack in vitality. You got to get in this vehicle and get out of that. And I think all the water signs are there. And I think that it really does boil down to having a better schedule or just something that you can rely on. Like we have to kind of now move away from the feel it out schedule or the feel it out situation. Like we actually need a little bit more structure now because we had all those years to like really be so ebbing and flowing. And now with Jupiter and Neptune and Pisces, we have to be weary of losing all definition because of that. So we need structure to offset that. Week number 4, 9 of Pentacles rooted down by Queen of Wands, beautiful. So by the end of the month, I think that you've solved problems. By the end of the month, it looks like you've solved this issue with directness or with forthrightness. And it feels like you are perhaps getting a nice payout or a nice level up in some way, creative energy flowing through you more than it was at the beginning of the month. And it does feel that you're actually on the path at that point in time, which is kind of crazy for me to see because I know you've been maybe struggling for a long time as a Cancer with like stagnating at the crossroads, you know? And it does seem that you're really getting on the path by that time. So anyway, Cancers, I'm going to talk more about this in your extended reading on Patreon. Definitely come check it out. I get a central theme, supporting themes, and an overarching significator card. And I do weekly tea chats every Saturday. So I'll talk to you all soon. Have a wonderful month. Bye.